Ariel, we're back, and the first of the second round is Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So, yeah, I'm Alex. I recently joined Keros as a DAO lead. So, if you don't know what Keros, basically, it's a subjective oracle for blockchain. So, it's allowing you to run subjective data on chain, and there are a lot of different use cases. So basically you have good use cases, you have stuff like proof of humanity, you have escrow use cases, you have curated lists, but today I'm going to have a specific focus on the multisig and clearer snapshot module use case. So the name of the presentation is from multisig to resilience, the path to become a real DAO. So first of all, who knows about this logo?
Where's the logo?
So yes, this logo, and I didn't know about the logo, but it's a very important one because it was the DAO basically. I guess you know about the DAO. It happens like at the beginning of Ethereum, and then there was this split between Ethereum Classic and the Ethereum Window. The key learnings are those 3 points. The fact that code is low, and with smart contracts you need to be very careful of what you put for your governance. Then the fact you need security best practice, and the user fronts can be at risk. So yeah, governance and DAOs is a serious topic. You need to be careful with it. What is the current state of on-chain DAO? The on-chain DAO option. We see major projects, DeFi projects like Uniswap, Lido, and Aave that have like huge treasury basically, and they have all this basically on-chain governance. So everything is on-chain, and it works. It's not perfect, but it's working for them. But when it comes to young entity, small projects, basically there are 2 drawbacks of this setup. The drawbacks are the fact that gas price can be pretty high, and it means like anytime you need to vote on the proposal, you need to pay fees, and yeah, when you have $1 million worth of governance token, it's okay, but when you have 100 euro, it's like not possible, definitely. So for some holders, it doesn't work, and the other point is the cost to set this up. Basically, you need to have an expert in smart contract and set everything up. It's not an easy task to have a fully on-chain DAO. So, what people are using most of the time, it's like the regular, the most famous setup is this one. You are using Snapshot for your off-chain governance, and you are using a multisig like multisafe, basically, for enforcing the proposal was in Snapshot. But that's really the key of my talk, the fact that multisig are not perfect because there are a single point of failure. What can happen really? And I have 3 points. First, the signer's key can be hacked. Then you can have some issue with governance that can be bypassed by the multisig owners, and then you can have human error. So I put one example for each one, and if you take the signer's key hack, here you have one, but there are plenty of like example like this one. Here is the Harmony protocol, the bridge basically, where that results in a 100 million hacks, which is huge, and because some keys of the multisig were compromised. So that's crazy in terms of amount. Then you have the issue of bypassing governance, and recently we saw it in the, if you have followed the DeFi space, what happened with the founder of Cure, that basically he was in Aave and his position was at risk, and basically some people or some DAO did some OTC deal with him, basically in order to de-risk his position. But because it has to be executed fast, and the OTC deal was quite a good deal, what happened is some DAO, they didn't like do a proper governance proposal for the team. So the guy at the multisig, they just say, okay, this is a good opportunity, let's do it. And they just did it with the multisig, and nobody in the community voted on it. So that's definitely an issue when we are talking about DAO, because it's not decentralized anymore. And then the human error. And we saw here at Gitcoin that sent $500,000 to the contract address by mistake. And we saw that in a lot of different projects, because basically what's happening in a multisig is you have a lead that is doing like preparing the transaction, and then people are signing it. And sometimes you are doing like a lot of different transactions, and people are checking all the time everything. And yeah, you might make mistakes, and if there are no drawbacks, you can lose money with that. So yeah, just to emphasize again, the origin of these three issues is the fact that you need the trust in signers when you have a multisig. So your DAO is not really a DAO anymore. It's not decentralized anymore. How to solve this as a young project? So basically, the idea is to take the best of both worlds. So from the off-chain world, you would like to take the low gas fee, and from the on-chain world, you would like to take the trustlessness. So basically, that's what we had in mind in Clearos when we create these snapshot modules. So it's allowing to do that with one simple tool. So the goal was not to create like something way much more complicated. So it's living with the current setup. So the snapshot plus the safe. So the goal is to have this tool on top that will allow you to have this setup. So I will take an overview of the process, step by step, of how to set up that. First of all, if you go to your safe, the interface you can look for some apps basically, and you can select the Zodiac app. The Zodiac basically is a set of open source tools that are made for the safe, and you select this one. It's done by Gnosis Guild, part of the Gnosis team, and then you have a different set of basically of module and of application, and that is the Clearos snapshot module that you need to select. And it's leveraging two things. It's leveraging reality, which is a system of Oracle, and I will explain a bit more after, and Clearos, which is a subjective Oracle, as I said, but also a dispute resolution system. So if you open the Clearos snapshot module, yes, you have this page that opens, and basically the first thing we ask you is basically to put the name of your snapshot space. So the idea is to link your safe with your snapshot. And I put 1 inch here because 1 inch is using basically this Clearos snapshot module. So basically you put it there, and then the second part is about some parameters for the Oracle, which is for reality, that will allow you to ensure security of the system. So I will take one concrete example in order for you to see things with the 1 inch process. Here we have this recent proposal of 1 inch. Basically, they wanted to put 1 million of DAI of their treasury into the DAI saving rate module. So the proposal, basically after some process, was posted on the snapshot. Here, as you can see, there it was passed, and the program was passed widely. So what happened is, when you go on their space, you can see this part here. Basically, it's that's the address of their safe, the multisig basically, that is linked to the Clearos snapshot module. And there is a batch basically, and the batch is a batch of transactions that represents what was inside this proposal. So the action of staking 1 million DAI into the saving rate. And in the process, it creates this question on reality. And this question on reality is asking two things. It's asking, is the proposal is passed? yes or no, and as we see, it has passed because the quorum is passed and everything. And the second question is, are the transactions in the batch reflecting what is written in the proposal? And the guy that executed that pushed this question on reality, what he did is he put a bond to secure the system. And the bond here is 0.1 ETH. And he put the bond on yes, because he's like confident that the proposal has passed first, and secondly, the transaction are executing what the proposal says. What happened? In this case, nobody challenged because it was right. And as you can see here from the debugging screenshot of the Aave treasury, they have now 1 million of DAI stake in their in the DSR. They did that in a fully trustless manner, basically, and the multisig, it was not the multisig that executed, but at the end of the process, anybody could have executed it. So although this module is secure, because there is also the risk of attacks and things like that. So this module is, I think the important word to keep in mind is an optimistic writer. I don't know if you are familiar with optimistic product, but it's a little bit the same idea. It's like, as soon as nobody is going to challenge we accept it. However, there is always the weight and the opportunity to challenge it. So if we took the 1-inch example, previously, basically the community vote, the proposal was not challenged, and the proposal was enforced. Everything went well. However, there is this opportunity to challenge it inside reality, and also to ask Kleros as an arbitrator. And I'm going to go a bit more in details for you to understand that. So that's what we see basically. It's the user, Alice, she did the 1-inch proposal. She put 0.1 ETH on yes, because she was confident that the transactions were right. However, the interesting part is that if, like in the case of Gitcoin, the transaction was wrong, because there was an error in the list of transactions. Anybody can come to reality and say, okay, this transaction is not doing what was written in the proposal. So anybody can go and put the double amount of the bond on top of it, basically, to say, no, there is an error, and this should not be executed. And there is a period, and if things are not moving, basically, at the end of the period, the proposal cannot be executed. And basically, Honest Bob, he has an interest into that, because he will get, basically, the bond from Alice. So there is a financial incentive for the community to check if the transaction is reflecting what the governance has said. So it's a good way to avoid mistakes. However, you can have a dishonest Bob, for instance, that try to just mess around and block your governance process by doubling the bond, and it doesn't care. And the good point with this system is, at the end, there is an arbitrator that is securing the whole system. In this case, it's Kleros. Kleros basically will allow to draw an amount of jurors that will look at the case. Basically, that will look at the case, look at the proposal, look at the transaction, and they are financially incentivized to give the right answer. And when they give the right answer, they can enforce it. And anybody can call this arbitrator, and at the end, basically, the party that called it and that is right is also financially incentivized. So in this way, Carlos Versus is running basically the money from dishonest Bob. So it's basically financial incentive that is securing the system and that is allowing it to make it safe. So if we go back to our 3 issues that we had with multisig. Here, in this case, we can see that the setup, like the Kleros snapshot module, is solving that. First of all, the signer's keys. There is no keys anymore, basically, because there is no multisig as a safe anymore. So signer's key cannot be compromised. Same thing for the issue of bypassing governance. The only way to execute any transaction now is to go through the snapshot governance process, and so people, like a small amount of people, cannot just say we want to do the multisig deal and don't care about governance. They have no choice. They need to go through the governance process. And for human error, as we can say, it's a good opportunity to incentivize financially the community to check and to avoid these mistakes that could be very, very costly for some projects. The interesting part of this technology is the fact that removing the multisig is just one use case, and I would say the first use case, and the easiest and the one that makes the more sense when we are talking about DAO, because it's the one that allows you really to decentralize. However, as DAOs are growing, governance is evolving. We see with the same technology a lot of different use cases. And these use cases are relying on clearance technology. And when I'm thinking about these other use cases, I'm thinking about stuff like optimistic budget allocation. And I will be very brief, but for those who follow the DeFi history, you know that at some point in Uniswap, there was this DeFi education fund that requests like, I think it was like $20 million of uni, and they say we are going to build education material, it's going to be great, and it's going to be long term, and we are not going to sell the token. And 1 or 2 months after, half of it was sold, and basically we didn't see that much results. So with a tool like Clearos, basically you could have say you could have done an optimistic setup where basically the money could have been streamed, and basically at any point anybody could have challenged the use of the farm. So it would have avoid this kind of giving a budget and then not being able to do anything. You could have also stuff like Supreme Court, because acquiring CRD because the deal sounds juicy. Okay, for DeFi it could make sense, but sometimes is it really the role of the treasury to do this kind of action? And when you have a DAO that has, for instance, a constitution, you could do a constitutional check to be sure that this proposal is in agreement with the core value and the core purpose of the DAO. You could think also about inter-DAO agreements and a lot of different things. So that's it for my presentation. So what I want you to keep in mind is from multisig to resilient DAOs, you can do that quite easily with the Clearos snapshot module, keeping your snapshot module, but becoming a real DAO, and you just use Clearos as Vitalik said. So thank you for your time, and if you have some questions or anything, feel free to reach me. Thank you.
I was trying to check. You said that once you have this module installed, there's no need for signers. And I was checking the docs, and it says that after you install the module, you have to remove the signers from the multisig.
Yes, you're right.
Which, good. But then it means that nobody can uninstall the module from the safe except the government's proposal that is voted on executed to do that? Is it even possible to do that?
Yeah, I do think you're right. It's a way where once it's set up, there is no way to go back.
Right.
However, there is also, that's, as you say, like removing all the signers. It's really when you go full.
Yeah, so it's
on the decentralized spectrum.
Optional.
It's optional. You can have different level of decentralization. For instance.
So if you put this module, but you still have the signers, you have trustless execution, but you still have the veto power from the signers, basically. In practice.
Exactly. That's, for instance, what Wallich is doing in their setup. The signer still keep the veto. It's an extra security for them. But we see DAO like Aave that are launching DAO that have also this system of guardians and on veto. I think it can help to reassure people on the short term. On the long term, I agree, it's not fully decentralized,
Right.
but it's in the middle ground.
Right. Yeah, I was asking this because then I like that once you install the module, you cannot take it back. So maybe the only solution there is, okay, let's pass the government's proposal that says take all the money out of this safe and put it in some other safe that doesn't have the module basically, and this safe is burned.
You can do that in practice, yes, you're right. It's a way to do it, yeah.
Yeah, to uninstall
Makes sense.
it, just to transfer things.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Thank you for the question, very interesting.
Any more questions?
In the example of Alice and Bob, is Alice like a member of the DAO? Does it have can it be anyone that can play the role of Alice?
In the example of Alice and Bob, yes, to attach basically how it works in the module is the people that create the snapshot proposal basically at the very beginning needs to attach the snapshot transaction.
This is one of the signers.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically, but it can be, I mean, anybody that has access to the snapshot and to the writing a new proposal will attach at the end of the proposal the batch of transaction.
Okay, can I just maybe clarify something? The example that you gave from Bitcoin
Yeah.
was exactly this failure from as well. Because what happened on Bitcoin, they were not using a multisig. They actually did an on-chain proposal with a payload that was showing that blah blah tokens were going to be transferred to the token address.
Yeah.
And 120 people voted yes without checking the token address.
Yeah.
Like on-chain voting.
On-chain voting, okay.
Yes. And so basically the mistake there was from the proposal, which made
Yeah.
the proposal with the payload with the wrong address, and for the 120 voters that just approved without seeing that it's the same token address. So in this case, if the attachment is wrong,
Yeah.
it's the same mistake.
The only difference with Bitcoin and here is the fact that here you have that. So you have a bound. So you have a bound more or less of 0.1 ETH that you attach with your proposal. So there
So
is
you're incentivizing people to check it.
exactly. You are incentivizing people, the one that find the fact that it's not,
And
will
also-
get this amount of money. So maybe it makes it more
And also-
interesting to
Yeah.
read it properly and not just what.
Yeah, and also the way you showed it on Snapshot, it shows like in the wire Snapshot, it shows the transaction payload, right, in the end of the proposal.
Yeah.
That thing there, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, on Bitcoin, people were using Tally to vote on the on-chain proposal.
Okay.
And on Tally, the payload before this scam was just like, code snippet and nobody, like,
Okay,
it didn't have the relevance in your eyes, so nobody would read it anywhere, basically. So now they corrected it, and it's like, now they have a warning, if it's the same token address, they automatically check it, blah, 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 right? But at least in this way, it shows up in the UI. I hope before voting, because this screenshot is after voting, I guess.
Yes, you're right. Yes, definitely.
But it should show before voting.
Yes, you can definitely open it as a full JSON file, the details of the transaction, and everybody can come and check it.
Right.
It could be.
Not everyone's going to open it fine.
It could be on JSON, but it can be also in a very more readable manner.
Yeah.
When it's like more
It's
easy,
a-
like transfer of funds, for instance, it will be shown in a UX in an easy manner.
Yeah,
If
sure.
it's something about staking and different things, it will be a JSON.
That's an integration with Snapshot, so that Snapshot front end will show that for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
There's also this tenderly module safe.
Yes.
That we also sometimes a technical person to understand like demystify the result.
That's